At the time, you were worried about Putin watching President Biden, who was obviously not fit as a fiddle, and licking his chops. What do you think Putin's doing now? Because it does seem as though the United States position is to sidle up and ally with Russia and to criticize Ukraine.
Well, in the past, Putin was obviously he was dealing with Biden, and he knew that Ukraine was stealing, at least by their own admission, half the money that we sent them. So, and now under Trump, they know that's going to stop, and the fighting will stop. So, I don't see the equivalency there, other than that President Trump has stopped the fight, is going to stop the fighting, and he's stopping us throwing our money down a well over there in a war we have nothing to do with. So, yeah, I stand by my previous statement, and it holds well.
I don't think it's accurate to say that Ukraine was stealing half the money over there.
Well, their own president said they don't know where half of it is. Now, you all got to get your facts straight, because everybody knows that. It's been reported in multiple news sources.
Congressman, as you know, most of the money that went to Ukraine was military aid, weapons that were manufactured and purchased in the United States.
So you're paying off the war pimps at the Pentagon to prolong this war. I mean, men are dying because of somebody's profit sheet, is what you're saying, and that's what this country is about, and that is wrong, and that needs to stop, and it's stopping under Trump, and that's why both sides are quietly pitching a fit right now, because they're not going to get rich off of young men dying and old men making terrible decisions, and that's exactly what's going on.
I think people are dying because Russia attacked Ukraine. I mean, I think that is the reason why people are dying.
At the beginning of that war, we were on both sides, if you haven't forgotten. We had gas contracts with Russia, and then we were giving money to Ukraine. So, in effect, as the big bankers sometimes do, they played both sides of the coin. And that's why nobody's in a rush to get this thing going. So we ought to be at war because America's going to profit? Is that what you're saying? Because that sounds a whole lot like what you're saying. Well, you just said that the arms are being bought here in America, and dadgummit, so people should die? Why don't they just give that $200 billion to arms manufacturers, and then nobody dies? I mean, by your own admission, you're saying that that this is a profiteer situation, and that's exactly what it is, and it needs to stop.
I mean, you can put words in my mouth and then argue with them, but that doesn't mean I said them. What I said was the money wasn't. I was trying to explain what Zelensky meant when he said he'd like to see where that money went.
If he's in charge of that country, and their finances, then dadgummit, why doesn't he know where the money went? That's what you're saying, and you can't have it. That is wrong. We're borrowing that money. Every dollar we gave Ukraine is borrowed. We are borrowing that from our great-grandchildren. We're $36 trillion in debt. We have no business being over there, except a lot of people's stock portfolios is going through the roof. Do you know when we gave our missile defense system to Ukraine, that when President Biden, by executive order, did that members of Congress in both parties had stock in the missile defense company, and that was a multi-billion-dollar contract. That was a no-bid contract to replenish our missile supply. This thing is about dollars and cents, and they don't give a rip about young men dying.
So
that's the bottom line.
Conservatives, Republicans at the time praised President Trump for having the courage to send those Javelin missiles to Ukraine to fight Russia. Was that a mistake?
They were in a defensive mode, not in an offensive mode, and that's a complete difference.
You think Ukraine is on the offense right now?
No, but those missiles are. That's what those missiles are for. Is defensive moves, not for offensive. Now it's unlimited. The money and supplies we're giving them or have given them, they're unchecked by Zelensky's own words. And I'm not putting words in your mouth, and you're not putting them in mine. Those are Zelensky's own words, that he doesn't know where that money went. So that should tell you some things about this whole war, what it's about. It's not about a conflict of freeing entrapped people. It's about making dollars.
Do you think that President Putin is responsible for this war beginning?
Absolutely, 100%. Putin's a thug. But again, where is all the outrage in the halls of Congress about the mistreatment of people by the Chinese? Nobody's going to go to war by them, and I'll tell you why. Because if you flip over every computer chip or everybody's tie, it's going to say "Made in China," because it's all about the dollars, brother. That's the only reason.